Just keep shifting. Just keep shifting. You gotta keep shifting. Have you been feeling that? You've been shifting realities lately. You've been shifting through these portals. You've been shifting your energy, calibrating to a completely new level of the game. Right? Now, what does that even mean? You probably feel overwhelmed lately. Maybe some extra nights in the bed, extra, sleeping in the morning, whatever it takes for you to really digest and be the alchemist here. You see, you check the Schumann resonance, right? You check this energy, this vibration that's coming over the earth, right? Of course, you're going to be affected by that. Of course, your antenna as the human body is going to tune in to that frequency that is going to allow you to either ascend or descend. And trust me, there's no judgment from my perspective, okay? What I want you to understand that everything is energy, right? That cliche saying, I'm going to keep saying it. Yes, everything is energy. So when we have this overwhelming amount of energy to the human body, what does that mean? That means the vessel, the nervous system itself, is not able to handle it. Therefore, more tools need to be busted out from the tool belt to actually acquire and create a vessel that is capable of handling this light, capable of handling this higher consciousness. So you are being pushed into that edge, right? Whatever limitation that your lower self has right now is what you call what your bandwidth is, what you're capable of experiencing as consciousness in the form of relationships, in the form of businesses, in the form of energy of all sorts and all flavors and all kinds. All right. Now, all of these things have to do with your perception of that bandwidth. All right. Let me give you a classic example. Shout out to all the parents out there, right? I have a father of 2 kids, and all those sleepless nights, right? I have stayed up sleepless. Oh my gosh, I've stayed up countless nights and just haven't slept for months on end in the newborn stage, right? And a lot of you parents have experienced that. And this is a very classic example of you going above that bandwidth, going beyond that bandwidth, expanding your consciousness for the sake of love, for the sake of unconditional love in the form of your child. And the soul that represents that child right there, you are devoting your life to right there in the form of not sleeping just so you can embody that higher frequency of love. So just keep shifting. Just keep shifting into those new higher forms of love. If you don't have children, it's probably the next adventure, right? The relationship, the person that triggers you on social media even, right? It could happen in the comments section. It could happen anywhere. The question is, how are you reacting to it? How are you truly showing up and representing that unconditional love frequency? Are you playing at the game at that high level, or are you succumbing to the challenges and you're like, man, this is just too much? And then you have to take some backward steps. Now remember, there's no judgment from me. All right? I am simply a transmission. I am simply here to guide you to the most optimal place, the most optimal timeline where you can perceive reality and actually live in that abundance, live in that bliss, live in that omnipresence where you're aware of it all. Because for me, what we would call a lower vibration or a higher vibration, it's all the same. It's all 5D. It's all one. It's all happening. It's all energy. You see? So wherever you're at, you have to calibrate to that level. You have to embody that level, do the work, complete it, and go on to the next and shift into the next reality and jump into the next portal and say yes to the next opportunity and keep going. I want to share with you one of my favorite mantras. All right? It's called firm and flexible. People ask me all the time, oh, Robert, how do you do this? How do you get into this energy? Why are you doing this? What is technique is this? How do you do it? All right. And I'm going to tell you the secret right now. You have to be firm on your beliefs. You have to shift into these new realities, right? And you have to be flexible and open to new potentials. Because if you're too firm, you're too disciplined, you're too rigid, you're closing yourself off to the potentials, to the magic, to the opportunities that are being presented by the higher self into your lower self perception. And if you're too flexible, you're too loosey-goosey, you're not grounded in life, you're getting pulled in all directions, you don't have that focus, that drive, that sharpness, that edge that is keeping you on point. You see? So the choice is yours. This comes back down to free will. Remember, I'm the source of accountability, just giving you all of the options here so you can choose the timeline, choose this train, right? And get on the track to the destination that is most optimal for you. And here we are, just happening to cross paths here, happening to get on the same train just for a moment to get to that destination, just to get on a different train to shift into another reality, and then another, and then another, and then another. You see, your higher self is always 10 steps ahead of you, working through these portals, buying the tickets to the next train, figuring out what is the best destination as far as the route to get there and the most optimal way so you, the lower self, can enjoy the ride. However, are you truly enjoying it? Or are you suffering on the train, pouting in the corner like, this sucks, the view sucks, the food sucks, everything sucks? You see? Those are the people in the victim mentality that are creating that darkness, creating that hell so they can create heaven. They're stuck in duality, and you know what I'm talking about. You probably see it on the daily if you live in a big city, all right? I'm a little more isolated out here in nature, living off grid. However, I know exactly what that feels like because I grew up in the city. I grew up in the programming of the classic standard America, right? I've been in LA. I lived in LA. I lived in the most toxic place in the world. And trust me, it's no judgment. I'm not saying that it's toxic. Again, what I'm saying is that there is so much potential, right? I want to throw it all out there for you to soak it up and enjoy because right now we are living it. This is the Great Awakening. This is the Ascension. This is the part where we all wake up, not just the chosen ones, not just the shepherds that are leading the people. I'm talking about every man, woman, and child is waking up. Don't you feel that? Don't you see that? In whatever minute, subtle energy form, they are waking up. So do the dance with them. Let's bring that energy in. Let's invite that grace into our lives. Because without it, the lower self wins. The ego always wins. The selfishness wins. The lust, the greed, right? The darkness, the energy that is pulling us and dragging us down all the time. Make no mistake that is not happening by any accident. The willpower, you see, the courage, the strength that it takes to overcome that is necessary moving forward. It is absolutely necessary. So before we get into shadow work, before we get into chakras and kundalini energy and opening the third eye and all this stuff, no, let's start with authenticity. Let's start with showing up to the yoga mat, right? Let's start with showing up to the practice that is polishing the mirror and making the best purification out of this body and this vessel so we can truly experience the light. That's really what we're here to do. All right, everybody, now know that you are loved, all right? You are just so loved, and I appreciate every single one of you being here, and we've shifted so many realities. I'm happy to be back to serve all of you and be into this new 5D timeline and actually rooting in it and throwing a bridge out to you so you can walk and come on down and enjoy it. All right, so I would love to see all of you, and until next time, infinite love, infinite peace. I'm out.